for the numbers to pencil, I need to be down even more than where you're at now.
Okay, so what's the number?
I mean, really, for this to work, I'm going to need to be at 70.
Oh my God, you guys. I'll talk to her about it, but that's another, 16.5?
Yeah.
This
I get it.
isn't
Yeah.
right.
I know it's a tough place to put you in. I apologize for that.
Nobody likes to renegotiate the price with a seller or an agent. That just sucks. It's awkward, it's uncomfortable, you feel stupid. Oftentimes the agent or the seller is upset and offended, but it does happen even to the best of us. On this video, I'm going to break down how to prevent a renegotiation from happening in the first place, how to set up the seller or the agent in the event you need to renegotiate, how to actually do the renegotiation, and I'll even show you a live negotiation call I did for one of my students on a deal that ended up becoming a profitable deal. All that and more coming up. I'm Jerry Norton, and I've wholesaled thousands of properties over the past 20 years, and I wish I could say that I got every single one of them right on price when I locked them up, but unfortunately that isn't the case. There are usually two reasons why you get the price wrong when wholesaling. The first is from no fault of your own. During due diligence, you discover information that wasn't previously disclosed to you. For example, recently I did a deal where we found out on the site visit that the property had a foundation issue that was not disclosed when we contracted the property. So we had to renegotiate a lower price to factor in that extra repair cost. But the most common reason to renegotiate, especially with newer wholesalers, is simply due to a miscalculation. You were off on either the value of the property or you were off on the condition or the cost of repairs, or both. Here's typically what happens. You use unrealistic comps, giving you a higher ARV, and or you underestimate the cost of the rehab. Either one or both of those mistakes will result in what I call over-contracting the property. Then you go to dispo your deal, you talk to a bunch of local cash buyers, and their prices are at or below your contract price. Now you have a real dilemma on your hands. You have to go back to the seller or the agent with egg on your face and either renegotiate the price or terminate the contract. That sucks. Now, what I just described is exactly what just happened with one of my students on a deal in Pueblo, Colorado. She contracted an off-market deal referred by an agent. The agent was representing the seller and getting paid by the seller, but it wasn't publicly listed for sale. My student contracted the property for $85,000, and then my dispo team partnered with her to JV the deal. During our outreach to cash buyers, all of the offers were coming in under $85,000, except one offer was at $87,500, so just above the contract price. So what went wrong? Well, exactly what I described earlier. The student's comps were too high, and the rehab budget she used was too low. Now, to make matters worse, the student already did one renegotiation down to $85,000, so now she needed to do it again. So I offered to do the renegotiation for her since she was a little apprehensive about it. Now, I ended up funding a double closing on this deal, so when I called the agent to renegotiate, I was the lender and the one funding the deal. And my approach was simple: be humble and be sorry and have a good reason, which is we messed up, and during our due diligence, we discovered that we were off on our numbers. Now, I recorded that call, and we're going to cut to that in a minute. But before we do, there are a few strategies I like to implement. First of all, make sure your buyer is locked in before renegotiating. You do not want to renegotiate a lower price and then still not find a buyer and have to do it again. The way to avoid that is to get your highest paying buyer to commit. Now, before doing the call with the agent, we made sure our buyer was ready to go and willing to put down non-refundable earnest money for $87,500. Next, it's always better when asking for a lower price to have something to give in return. This could be to close sooner or more earnest money or both. That way the seller can feel more certain that you'll perform, especially since you just lost their confidence by asking to renegotiate the price. Now, you'll see me do this on the call. Now, there are a few more very important things that I want to talk about when it comes to renegotiating price that I'll cover after we listen to the call. So stay to the end for that. Okay, let's cut to the call.
Okay.
Hi, Casey. Nice to meet you. My name's Jerry.
Pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for all your hard work on this one. I know you've been working quite a bit with the seller and with Tamara, and I'm the finance partner who's got to write the check or, commit the funds. So I just want to kind of talk this out with you and kind of explain to you where I'm coming from. I don't know that we're going to be able to make the current contract price work, and want to talk this through with you and kind of give you where I'm coming from and see if there's something we may be able to do.
Which we've already did a 25 plus
I know.
change. So what are you guys thinking? What's going on?
Well, after taking a hard look at this thing, let me talk numbers, because all of this is just math to me. My biggest concern right now is there's a comp that's active on 1719 Moore Avenue. I'm not sure if you've seen that. It's a 2-1. It's just like ours. It's been on the market 45 days and it's listed at 178. That one's got us pretty concerned, because I was originally thinking, and Tamara was thinking, that we were up over 200, maybe 210. I just don't know that I'm going to get up there. Not only that, but I've sent a handful of contractors out there and some people I work with in that market there. Our rehab's coming in pretty significant as well. 90 was my highest number. I think I could get that down a bit, but that puts me down for the numbers to pencil. I need to be down even more than where you're at now.
Okay, so what's the number?
I mean, really, for this to work, I'm going to need to be at 70.
Oh my God, you guys.
I can commit. I can bring in a bigger earnest money and make it non-refundable and still close on time.
Okay, I'll have the conversation, but this.
I get it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I know it's a tough place to put you in. I apologize for that.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, I'll talk to her about it, but that's another 16.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to push this as much as I can. I think you're going to end up with a price around there anyway if you go with somebody else too. Maybe not, but that's where I think it needs to be. Market's slow right now. I don't want to lose. I want to make sure we've got it at a good number, and stuff's sitting right now under 200, which is kind of scary.
But I just don't, it just doesn't taste right to me. Just to be honest with you, this is why I typically don't do this type of stuff. It just doesn't sit well with me. But I'll have a conversation with her and we'll see what she says.
Yeah, let me know.
Okay, we'll do.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Man, that was awkward. By the way, I offered $70,000 and the agent spoke to the seller and came back at $75,000, which was exactly what I anticipated, and we ended up accepting that, and we locked in our buyer at $87,500 for a $12,500 wholesale fee. Now, a few words of caution. You do not want to create a habit of renegotiating, especially with agents. They will stop calling you and stop bringing you deals. All of that drama can be avoided if you just offer lower from the get-go. Now, this deal was way too much work on Dispo. I would have preferred that we had the deal at $60,000. Life is significantly better when you get really good deals. Do you know how fun wholesaling is when everyone is fighting over your deal because it's such a good deal? So what do you do if you're uncertain about the contract price, which when you're newer might feel like all the time? Let me explain what to do. At the time of contracting with an agent or a seller, explain how due diligence works. Here's what I'll say. Mr. Seller, once you approve this agreement, we're going to do our property walkthrough with my partners, investors, and possibly contractors. We're going to really pour over the numbers and make sure that the price of $85,000 works. If for any reason we discover something that would make this price not work, I'll let you know right away and we can discuss what to do from there. Now, by properly positioning my due diligence, I just prep them for a possible renegotiation. Now, the last thing I want to say is do not, under any circumstance, intentionally use a renegotiation as a business model. That is unethical and will quickly ruin your reputation in the marketplace. Now, this is where you overcontract on purpose, string the seller along, and then at the last minute when the seller is packed up and the U-Haul's in the driveway, you go back and threaten to not close unless the seller lowers the price. Believe it or not, there are wholesalers who do that intentionally. And y'all wonder why wholesaling is getting heavily regulated. Okay, now, if you need to use my contracts, including an addendum for renegotiating, I'll give you all of that paperwork for free. I'll put the download link in the description below. All I ask is you leave a comment and say, "Thank you, Jerry, you are a flipping genius." Finally, the best way to renegotiate is to not renegotiate in the first place. That means you need to get better at contracting good deals. So I want you to watch this next video where I do a deal review on a real life deal and show you why the wholesaler was off on the numbers. Watch that now, and I'll see you on the next video.